Welcome to CBIA News Top Story. I'm Bill DeRosa, editor of CBIA News, our monthly business news and information magazine. I'm here with Pete Gioia, CBIA Vice President and economist, to talk about jobs and business investment in Connecticut. Pete, when David Hess, president of Pratt & Whitney, spoke at our Economic Summit and Outlook not too long ago, he said that Connecticut is a good place to do the right kind of work. What did he mean by that?
Well, I think that what he meant was that in Connecticut you really need to focus on high value added manufacturing, and you need to focus on other high value added services as well as research and development. Those are the types of things that we can do that use our highly skilled workforce and that adjust for some of the high costs that we have within the state and still allow you to be profitable. A lot of types of low-end work or not technologically intensive work just can be done so much cheaper in other parts of the country and the world that it doesn't make sense to do it in Connecticut.
The economists that spoke at the summit seemed to think that a double-dip recession was not too likely at this point. If that's the case, what do you think are the biggest threats to Connecticut's economic recovery going forward?
Well, there are a lot of threats that are still out there, whether they be threats of things like an energy price spike, or consumer demand has picked up a bit, but that still is at risk until we get steady job recovery. So those are some of the things from the private sector that have an impact. But there's also public sector things that have an impact on this. And for Connecticut, there needs to be a sustainable solution to the budget crisis, and not only the short-term one, but also the unfunded liability, so that businesses can plan and realize what they're going to have in terms of tax burden going forward. I think it's also important that we not add any additional cost to our already high cost environment. Both of those things can certainly slow what could be a stronger recovery.
The December job numbers that the Connecticut Department of Labor recently released didn't seem to be too encouraging. What's your take on the jobs picture in the months ahead?
Well, I think they were very disappointing. We lost 4,300 jobs in December, and whereas we were 5,300 jobs gained net year over year, that still is a very weak figure. It's 0.3% growth versus 0.9% growth in the U.S. overall. You compare it to Massachusetts, which is about 2.5 times our size, added 45,000 jobs. So obviously Connecticut is severely underperforming both states in the region and nationally. And what I think that this shows is that we really have to have jobs as a number one effort here within the state, and that is really important. I mean, we still have nearly 100,000 people who are out of work, who lost their jobs during the recession. That should be an absolute number one priority for all the public policymakers within Connecticut, and they should be held accountable to make sure that they take actions that support that.
Thanks, Pete. To read this month's top story, go to CBIA.com and click CBIA News Magazine.